Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you got a chance to see the show from yesterday. We've got another exciting program for you today, guys. Lots of cool things to talk about. First off today, I'm going to take you back to Devin Nunes' message for Christmas. There was something that a listener pointed out to me yesterday, and I must admit someone pointed out that there was an odd tone to this message when it actually appeared for the first time, but I didn't get it until yesterday, and now I'm pretty sure I do, and I want to share it with you guys. Also, we've got some tweets from the president. Good stuff. He's talking about the big T word. Also, Joe DeGeneva is on the road, as usual, talking about the coup plotters and who actually led it. We've got some information about the Biden files dropped by my good friend and fellow researcher Methods. Also, we've got some information about Ukraine and Barry's administration, their actions there. Also, you know it's a bad day when former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is talking about the Dems, and not in a good way. He is speaking out about the Dems. He says that Lincoln would have been impeached by today's Democrats. What are you going to say? Rod Blagojevich has something bad to say about the Democrats. He was the seat of corruption in Illinois until they finally took him down. All right, guys. Well, we've got all this for you today and more, and we're going to be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Are you watching this video using a VPN? Well, if not, you really should be, and if you are and it's not Virtual Shield, then you're probably using one that's not trusted. We've got lots of creepy people in this world. Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, some of the creepiest looking people on the planet, and we are willingly letting them know everything about us on a daily basis. Where we shop, who our family and friends are, what our location is. Our only protection against these digital tyrants is the use of a VPN and our constitutional right to privacy. A virtual private network is a server where you log on before you browse the internet, and it masks or hides your identity from these nasty, nosy thieves. It's not complicated at all. You just press a button and voila, you're protected. You can sign up today for a free 30-day trial of Virtual Shield VPN, mobile and desktop. This will allow you to create a secure connection which can be used to shield your browsing activity from prying eyes, whether you're on a public Wi-Fi connection, a foreign country, or just at home. Let me show you guys how easy it is. Alright, so here we are. We'll go to What is my IP? You can see it's right there. Now, when I connect to Virtual Shield, that will mask my actual location, and it now shows that I am here in Chicago, Illinois, and my location is secure. January is National VPN Month, and to celebrate that, Virtual Shield is offering specials of 30% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons including Protection Plus, residential access, and VIP performance for as low as a cup of coffee. Sign up today for a free 30-day trial to use Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is about. You've got nothing to lose. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First off, today we have the clip from Devin Nunes. This was his Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's message. I'm going to play it, and let's hear if you guys hear what I hear. He says, no more fake news in 2020. Let's take a listen.
This is Devin Nunes. I want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I want you to know this is a fake fire, a lot like the fake news you see. Let's hope this year, no more fake news, no more fake fires. Let's hope for a better 2020. Thanks again for all your support.
All right, so no more fake news. Obviously, I get that. But no more fake fires? Remember, Devin Nunes is in California. Remember what happens with the fires. California gets set on fire, and all of a sudden, billions of dollars in federal funding gets pushed in to help them put it out and to rebuild. Could Devin Nunes be giving us a clue as to the fact that these are, in fact, fake fires? I don't know, but I thought it was compelling, and when the person sent it over to me, it made me remember that a loved one very, very recently, on the date that this was released, said to me, there's something weird about this message. And I thought so at the time, but now I think maybe we solved it. Just a theory. What do you guys think? All right, next up, we have a couple of tweets from our POTUS. He says, a lot of very good people were taken down by a small group of dirty, filthy cops, politicians, government officials, and an investigation that was illegally started and that spied on my campaign. The witch hunt is sputtering badly, but still going on. Ukraine hoax. If this had happened to a presidential candidate, or president who was a Democrat, everybody involved would long ago be in jail for treason and more, and it would be considered the crime of the century, far bigger and more sinister than Watergate. I think that President Trump is absolutely right. If this had been something that was perpetrated on the other side of the aisle against a Democrat, then you better believe people would be up in arms. But in today's world, terrible things happen all the time. They destroy people's lives. They spend millions of dollars on these investigations that lead nowhere because there's no crime as a precedent to even start the investigation. And the left and the media, they jump in line and they attack the president, and they attack people like us who ask questions, who simply want to know what is the logic behind all of this. If it's not that you simply despise the man in office, then what truly is going on? Because we know there's absolutely no crime to even prosecute. It's unbelievable. Well, in our first actual story of the day, Joe diGenova is blasting the corrupt officials of the last presidential administration. And apparently, as we've said many times in the past, we've got JC, James Corney, and JB, John, we'll call him Bremen, and they were the coup leaders. Now, former U.S. Attorney Joe diGenova blasted corrupt Barry administration and its coup leaders who were involved in the Spygate scandal. diGenova told OWN's John Hines that former FBI Director James Corney and former Clowns in America Director John Bremen led the coup attempt to oust President Trump from office. Now, the former U.S. Attorney said Barry knew exactly what Corney and Bremen and other corrupt officials were doing during the 2016 election. We've shown that here in the past. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a listen to the clip. Let's put it on.
Do people go to jail for this, and why not?
People should go to jail for the Carter Page stuff, the lying on the FISA warrants, the misleading the FISA courts, submitting false documents to the FISA courts. Those are all felonious acts. For me, what matters is accountability at this point. You have two institutions that are vital to American freedom, the FBI and the Justice Department. They were completely corrupted under two attorneys general, Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch, with the authority and knowledge of the then President of the United States. And you'll never forget, I'm sure, that famous Susan Rice email on Inauguration Day of Donald Trump, where she sends an email to the file memorializing that there had been a meeting on January 5th with the President of the United States, all senior law enforcement and intelligence officials, where they reviewed the status of Crossfire Hurricane, and the President announced that he was sure that everything had been done by the book. I must say, I want to thank Susan Rice for being so stupid and so arrogant to write that email on January 20th, because that's Exhibit A for that Barack Obama knew all about this from start to finish and was more than happy to have the civil rights of massive numbers of Americans violated so he could get Donald Trump. If you're a good prosecutor, you look at the facts in the Trump case and the Page case, the Flynn case, there's only one conclusion you can come to. None of this makes any sense. None of these people were evil. None of them. They were framed, and the whole process was playing out. And you knew it on July 5th, 2016, when James Comey announced, usurping the functions of the Attorney General, that no reasonable prosecutor would bring a case against Hillary Clinton. That was ludicrous. She destroyed 30,000 emails that were under subpoena. If you or I did that, we would be in prison today. She got a break because she was Hillary Clinton, and James Comey was trying to kiss her fanny because he wanted something from her when she became President of the United States. That the corrupt investigative process of the FBI and the DOJ was being used to basically conduct a coup d'etat. I mean, you have to be an idiot. Any first-year assistant U.S. attorney would look at all these facts and say, there's a coup underway. There's a conspiracy. Well, there's no doubt that John Brennan was the primogenitor of the entire counterintelligence investigation. It was John Brennan who went to James Comey and basically pummeled him into starting a counterintelligence investigation against Trump. Brennan's at the heart of this. He went around the world. He enlisted the help of foreign intelligence services. He's responsible for Joseph Mifsud and other people. People do not have even the beginning of an understanding of the role that John Brennan played in this. He is a monstrously important person, and I underscore monstrously important person. He has done more damage to the Central Intelligence Agency. It's equal to what James Comey has done to the FBI.
Joe DeGeneva echoing the sentiments of many, many people out there. I know that the viewers of this channel feel the same way that he does. I know that I do as well. And I am confident that these people are going to pay for what they've done. They have single-handedly destroyed the law enforcement in the United States of America, both at home and abroad, because we've got the domestic law enforcement agency as well as the international law enforcement agency in the clowns in America. So everything that they've done is going to be memorialized in history, and I just cannot believe that they are going to be allowed to be let go scot-free without any type of punishment. These people are going to pay for what they've done, because it's not only the damage to the president, the office of the president, to their own agencies that they've done, it's the damage to the country as a whole, to the American people, and to our very way of life. They tried to overthrow a duly elected president of the United States of America with the help of the last president of the United States of America. Absolutely unprecedented in what has happened here in this country. All right, next, a tweet from Methods. He says, I can think of an army of digital soldiers that would love to get their hands on them. This is in relation to something called the Biden papers. Apparently, the Senate kept documents secret and hidden from the public. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reporting from Breitbart. Well, apparently thousands of documents pertaining to Joe Biden's nearly 40-year career in the U.S. Senate are still unavailable to the public after one of the preliminary release deadlines agreed to by the former vice president just passed on by on Tuesday. Now, these documents, which purportedly fill 1,875 boxes and include 415 gigabytes of electronic records spanning Biden's time in Congress between 1973 and 2009, they were to be made public on December 31st, 2019. That's according to an agreement the former vice president entered into with the University of Delaware in 2011 upon donating his papers over there to the institution. Now, those parameters, however, were changed on April 24th, the day before Biden declared his 2020 campaign. When the university announced the trove of documents would now be made public on December 31st, or 2 years after the former vice president retires from public life. At the time, the university provided no definition for what it considered public life, leaving open the final date for release. Now, included in those documents are committee reports, drafts of legislation, and personal correspondence between Joe and his colleagues. Some of the records are likely to be controversial, especially those detailing the former vice president's early work alongside Southern segregationists to oppose busing to integrate public schools. Now, the issue reared its ugly head in June 2019 when Biden praised the civility of two Senate allies, the late Senators James Eastland, a Democrat from Mississippi, and Herman Talmadge, another Democrat from Georgia, while touting his ability to forge bipartisan consensus. I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland, the former vice president told donors at a fundraiser in New York at the time. He never called me boy, he always called me son. Well, guess what, Biden continued. At least there was some civility. We got things done. We didn't agree on much of anything. We got things done. We got it finished. But today, you look at the other side and you're the enemy. Not the opposition, the enemy. We don't talk to each other anymore. Well, whose fault is that, Uncle Joe? I certainly don't think it's the Republicans, because the Republicans have been attempting to work with the Democrats ever since President Trump came into office. It is the Democrats who have been obstructing absolutely every piece of legislation, who have stonewalled on anything the president has wanted to do, anything in his MAGA agenda. We are the ones who are willing to work. We are the ones who care about the future of this country. Unfortunately, it is the Democrats who see us as the enemy, and you can see it on places like Twitter, Facebook, anything on social media that you go and look at. You can see Republicans trying to speak, Republicans trying to have a debate, and Democrats trying to shut down the opposition. I think that Joe is once again projecting. And I think it's very obvious that the information contained in these files would be particularly damaging to his public image. Therefore, the necessity for him to be retreated from public life before anything is released. Mark my words, if the information in these files comes out, then Joe is done even more than he is already. All right, now here is a name you guys might remember. The former Assistant Defense Secretary for 44, Evelyn Farkas. Well, she was pictured in Ukraine in a Burisma outfit with the shady Atlantic Council. Can't make this stuff up. Former Assistant Defense Secretary under the former administration, Evelyn Farkas, admitted that the Barry administration was trying to collect as much intelligence as possible on the Trump administration. Evelyn Farkas also served as an advisory to Hillary Clinton during the 2016 presidential campaign and was up for a position in the Clinton administration if HRC became president. It's no big deal that she had access to information on the Trump campaign while advising his opponent, Hillary Clinton, right? Well, nothing to see here. Move along. We know 3 years ago that the fake Russia narrative was to distract from Obamagate, and we said so. Now we know that Farkas was also involved in the Ukraine and now infamous oil and gas company Burisma. Here we have the picture. Let's take a look. All right, now this is from a Jared Kushner parody account, but you can see that is clearly Evelyn Farkas. She is wearing Burisma gear, got Burisma hats, gloves, jackets, all of it. He says, "Lookin' flash in that Burisma gear." Now, Burisma is the same company that Uncle Joe Biden's son once served on as a board member while his father was VP. That same company that is under scrutiny for hiring Hunter Biden and paying him millions for knowing absolutely nothing about oil and gas in the Ukraine. I could do this job. Farkas is also pictured with members of the Atlantic Council, which is heavily connected to the recent whistleblower case in the House, which also involves the Ukraine. Now, Farkas is a former top Obama administration Defense Department official. She has been advocating for the intelligence community and other government employees to collect information that could be damaging to President Trump and leak it to the media. She was quoted as saying, "And I know that we have to preserve our sources and methods," speaking about the U.S. intelligence community, "but at some point, sometimes maybe you have to actually compromise some kind of source or method if it comes down to saving American democracy. Or, as they're actually doing, destroying American democracy." Oh, also, Farkas is now running for Congress, and you can read about that here in another article. But let's go ahead and take a look at these pictures of Evelyn. I believe this is from the Applebaum website. Here she is. This is her running for Congress. That's her Twitter account. There she is, pictured right there in the Burisma gear. Here she is on that infamous news appearance where she suggested that people in the government should compromise sources and methods and break the rules and the laws in order to leak things. And here she is with the Atlantic Council. Oh, this is all getting pretty deep. How many more people are we going to find out from the last administration are still involved in trying to remove this president from office? The list continues. All right, and finally, guys, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich has some harsh words for the Democrats. He says Lincoln would have been impeached under today's Democrats. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich lashed out at Dems in a recent Newsmax column, saying Democrats would have impeached Abraham Lincoln for Confederate collusion if he was still alive today. The former Democrat governor added that Pelosi would have called for a special counsel to investigate Lincoln for offering the top military command to General Robert E. Lee. It's been widely reported that President Trump may commute the ex-governor's sentence. Now, Fox News is reporting that former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, himself impeached and now serving a 14-year term in federal prison for corruption, said in a new op-ed that today's House Dems would have impeached Abraham Lincoln. Blagojevich, a Democrat who drew the attention of federal prosecutors when he was caught on tape allegedly attempting to sell former President Barack Obama's U.S. Senate seat, said in a Newsmax column that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat of California, would have President Lincoln impeached as swiftly as she has President Trump. In the column, he said he admires his fellow Illinoisan and also that he served in Congress during former President Bill Clinton's impeachment proceeding. Blagojevich noted one of the House Democrats' 2 articles of impeachment against Trump is the alleged obstruction of Congress. Lincoln didn't ask Congress for permission when he declared an end to nearly 250 years of slavery and offered freedom to millions of slaves in the American South, he said, referring, of course, to the Emancipation Proclamation, which went into effect on this day in 1863, that was yesterday, and itself was a unilateral executive branch decision. In addition, the 62-year-old former governor said Pelosi would likely charge that Lincoln had committed Confederate collusion when he offered Virginia native General Robert E. Lee command of the U.S. Army. All of these things that President Lincoln did were under the purview of his executive office. Everything President Trump has done has been under the purview of his office in the executive branch. These people have done nothing. But Rob Blagojevich makes an excellent point in that, of course, the Democrats would have went to impeach Lincoln, despite how wonderful a job he was doing, despite what he had done to bring the country together after saving it when it was completely and utterly divided, the same way that President Trump has done in today's world. I would say that President Trump himself has even done a better job than Abraham Lincoln because he has dealt with far more obstruction than anything Lincoln had to see in his day. Of course, there isn't a civil war going on in the country right now, but the politics of today are far different than the politics of 1863, and there is a lot more money in this game. There are a lot more players, and they are willing to do a lot more things. Now, I'm not saying that they are not above trying to remove President Trump in a, shall we say, more permanent fashion. We know they've already tried to do that on a number of occasions, but thank goodness for the fact that President Trump has the excellent protection of the Secret Service at his back, and that these brave men and women in that law enforcement branch are willing to lay down their lives and do everything they can to keep our president safe. We believe we've already lost a couple of Secret Service agents while President Trump has been in office. Now, was that due to the Dems trying to remove President Trump permanently? I'm sure they're not going to tell us openly, but something tells me that has been the case. Well, guys, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.